To start, I'm asking you to look up at the sky. Like I get this little lens in view, which is not uncomfortable, but it's a little weird. And then you can look straight ahead. Are you ready? Okay. Then here we go. It's fairly bright. It actually builds up a little bit of brightness now. You are looking right where you're supposed to, because the green sort of disappears.
Are you ready?
But wherever you're looking, hold on to that spot. Because this is absolutely perfect.
So today is the day. I'm about to get my first adjustment to the special intraocular lens that I had implanted in my right eye 7 weeks ago. This light adjustable lens is the first lens that you can customize after implantation. And that's what I'm going to show you today. How do they actually change this lens inside your eye? To remind you how this is supposed to work, if you haven't seen my earlier videos, to make the adjustments today, my doctor will be using a special light delivery device that will shine a concentrated beam of UV light onto the lens at just the right places for just the right amount of time to reshape that lens in just minute ways designed to fine-tune my vision. Last week, I had a long appointment with my doctor to, discuss my options. What kind of changes can we make that will give me the best vision I can get? This eye, it's never going to be 20/20 just because of its, abnormal shape and medical history. But what kind of vision can we achieve? In this video, I plan to show you the entire adjustment, the tests they'll do, immediately before they do this procedure, what my doctor tells me, that I have to do during the adjustment, and the actual delivery of the concentrated light into my eye. I admit I'm a little bit nervous, and I'm not by nature a nervous person, but this is a very novel, foreign, exciting journey. So come along, let's do this thing. The appointment started as they normally do with an auto-refraction, which measures how light reflects through the eyeball. These are often less accurate after an eye has had refractive surgery, like the LASIK I had 30 years ago. These are my results from today's auto-refraction. Then it was on to the visual acuity test, where you cover one eye and read the chart at the other end of the room. This tells you your uncorrected visual acuity.
So what was that? 20/40 in the right, 20/30 in the left.
It's okay.
So looking through the pupils.
Next step, the pinhole test. The pinholes limit the amount of light entering the eye, which helps determine what your vision might be without refractive errors.
So what do you got there?
My pinhole results were better than usual. Then it was a check on my near vision.
So cover your left eye. What's the smallest row of numbers you could read down the left side of that card?
J16 on my LAL eye, which is not great at all. J2 on my uncorrected left eye, because it's myopic or nearsighted. Then it was time to meet with my optometrist light adjuster to decide on today's plan.
So where are we? We don't know what to do yet.
Yeah, am I clear with what I'm looking for? Which is everything.
Yes. Here, which is not ridiculous. I mean, we have limitations. We have some optical limitations and some retinal limitations.
Yes, right.
When we treat you, one of the easiest things to do in the light adjustable lens is to treat the astigmatism, because very rarely do we ever want to leave astigmatism.
Right,
it's just
right.
optical noise, basically. Yeah. And there are several ways to do that. One is to just bring them both down to Plano.
Okay.
Because both of them are above zero now in the hyperopic world. Doing so steepens the lens. When the lens steepens, anytime we steepen it, we get an increased depth of focus. A little bit. Okay.
And depth of focus means I increase the range?
Correct. Range of vision. In fact, the general guiding rules for the LAL are to aim farsighted, and so we can move towards nearsightedness, because this lens behaves better in that direction, and in general, you just get this improvement in optical quality. The tricky part is just, do we want to add even more extra depth of focus. The hesitation on that is that that can reduce the optical quality slightly.
Of the distance vision or of all vision?
All vision, but it's most impactful in the distance. I'm not sure if it makes sense to aim for the additional depth of focus. We were talking about doing that the other day.
Yeah.
That was kind of our conclusion when we finished the other day. And the more I think about it, the more I hesitate on that.
Okay.
Only because, hypothetically, if you had a 2015 retina and we did the extra depth of focus, probably the next time we refract you don't get to 2015. You get to 2020. And in general, the guidance from RxSight is to aim for this additional extra depth of focus in a near eye. So they don't often recommend it in their distance eyes. And so if this eye is going to be a distance biased eye and it already has some other element changing the vision that with the previous surgery and even LASIK, it's hard to lean into that with a lot of confidence. Exactly. Yeah. So let's refract you.
Okay, let's refract me. See, now that's our channel. The manifest refraction is a key test. This is when they use a phoropter to present different lens powers and combinations, the standard, which is better test, 1 or 2. Take your time with this. We then took the information from the phoropter to choose lenses to put into trial glasses to test the vision on something other than just a chart on the wall. We tested the vision up close first.
Sorry, I took away your...
Yeah, don't have much here.
Okay.
And then walked out into the lobby to try the lenses, looking out in the distance, in the real world. I find this very helpful.
I think your refraction is stable. The question is just, do we go to 0 or do we go to -1/4? I don't think -1/2.
What's the downside of that? I'm back to
the extra depth of focus reduces the quality. Even though I move the focus, you might say it was better before. And it may have been better before. That may be true.
So it's just not as sharp. Is that what you mean by quality?
Correct, yes. It is. And in some cases, it would even prevent you from reading all the same letters you did before. Yeah.
And we would do the quarter only because
just to give you more near. There's no clear answer.
That's it. And the beauty of the LAL is you get to choose.
Yes.
The horrible part about the LAL is you have to choose.
You have to choose, exactly. I try to give people as much near vision as they can tolerate without sacrificing distance in this type of scenario. So that's kind of where the quarter stands out to me.
That makes sense. Okay. I think we're sold.
Don't try that.
Yeah.
There's dilating drop number 1. And here comes dilating drop number 2. Here it is. That should do the trick.
So my eye is now dilating. We're going to do this today. The decision's been made. We're going to go for a 1/4 diopter overshoot, not a full 1/2 diopter, which would have triggered the extended depth of focus, but we're not going to do that. I decided against that because it can compromise the clarity of the vision at all ranges. So I'm going to, rather than just go to plano, we're going to overshoot into the myopic range, about a 1/4 diopter, so I get a little more near vision. And I will just have to rely on my left eye for near and intermediate vision. Although I do get a little bit of intermediate, I think, with just the 1/4 diopter. I'm a little nervous, but the decision's been made. Next stop, first adjustment.
So this is our light delivery device. So I'm actually in your chair right now while we get some things set up. When this begins, you're going to be seated here facing the wall with your chin right here, chin in the chin rest, forehead up against the bar. You can put your hands wherever's comfortable. There's headrests here. You can let them dangle, whatever you like. Your job throughout this will be to look inside here. There will be a little green light. Okay? Your task is to stare at that green light the whole time. It will probably disappear, just so you know. It'll turn into a white light or it'll disappear completely, in which case, look where the green light was. I will use a little lens, this little lens right here. This is going to help you so you can't blink, basically.
Okay.
And this sort of standardizes the treatments among everybody, so we know what's happening. The initial part of this for me is to get you actually into the software so that we can design and program your vision the way we want to. I'm going to type in some of your information, and we pick the right eye.
Yeah.
So if I pick the wrong eye, the machine won't even let me do a treatment. It will block me. If I were to happen to try to treat your left eye as in the place of the right eye, it doesn't even let it happen.
Interesting. He then adds my manifest refraction and target prescriptions.
Finance 125, axis 70. And the target that we discussed was to just aim for a tiny bit nearsighted at -1/4 inch. So really, that's all the input that I give it at all. It does a timeout, make sure everything's right. Do I have the right patient? Do I have the correct eye? Do I have the right target, the manifest refraction, and the right target prescription? And we do. It's just a thing we do before we do any treatment. Is everything correct? For me to confirm it. Now it runs through a checklist of things it asks me to do every time. Patch the fellow eye. Check. Prepare the contact lens with coupling gel. Check. Instruct the patient to focus on the green fixation target. Check. Confirms the vision dilation. Check. You can see it best in here. Because I have to be able to see the entire lens and be able to focus on the haptics of the lens. So if I can't see the haptics, it's really not enough damage. I was interested. Yeah. Then once the lens is actually in the eye, we want to make sure there's no bubble. Like I was describing, you can get little air bubbles in there or dust or anything like that. Focus onto the haptics. Align the reticle to the outer edge. The reticle is this red and white blinking right here. So that's my actual aiming mechanism. So when I click that and I go to the next screen, this will tell us how long the treatment is. This will be maybe a minute or so. And this would be able to see, there you can see my hand moving in the camera.
Yeah.
So that's where your eye will appear for me, fairly zoomed in. And my job is to line up. These won't be blinking at that time. It's blinking when it's saying, I can't see what I need to see. It's all red when it's correct. And so I line up the top, sides, and then there's a little tracking extra light that shows up in the middle of this smaller circle here. And then I just have to keep that all sort of in focus. Physically, it's a little bit uncomfortable because it's bright, but most people tolerate it very well.
And with that, it was time to really begin. I'm going to show you the entire procedure, both my eye and what the doctor is seeing on his screen.
Okay.
Okay.
So, little numbing drop. You get to look up at the sky right into that frame with there.
He then patched the fellow eye, in this case with a small piece of tape.
All right.
Any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. So that's ready for you.
I'm ready for it.
Okay. So 122 seconds. I try to give you a countdown along the way. Okay. Like I said before, your job is to just make sure you look at the green. But to start, I'm going to ask you to look up at the sky. I'm going to get this little lens in here, which is not uncomfortable, but it's a little weird. And then you can look straight ahead. Let's find where you are here. There you are. Okay. Good. You can see the green?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. All right, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So 122 seconds. And here we go. It's fairly bright. It actually builds up a little bit in brightness now. That's okay. You are looking right where you're supposed to. Because the green sort of disappears.
Mm-hmm.
But wherever you're looking, hold on to that spot. Because this is absolutely perfect. And the colors may change as we keep going through here. But we're just rolling right along. We are down now to 90 seconds left, so a quarter of the way through it already. Very well. Approaching 60 seconds here. You're at the halfway point. Keep up the good work.
first 30 seconds. This will feel like the home stretch here. Hang in there, you're doing a wonderful job. Truly, you're holding still very nicely. And it shuts off on its own when we're done. That's it.
And with that, the first light treatment is complete. The question is now, what will the vision in that eye be like as the material inside the special lens changes?
For the rest of the day, count your vision out as being like anything really good. Partly that's just because of the dilation. Your dilation is very large and it'll last, a couple hours through the rest of the evening. You have a bunch of goo in your eye from the contact lens that we put on there, and then all the dilating drops just beat up the surface a little bit. So today's vision, just sort of dismiss it. Starting tomorrow morning, you'll start to notice a change. It shouldn't work that quickly, but it won't get its full effect until about 36 hours after now. So sometime tomorrow evening, that's when you'll really start to notice the full change. As far as, the protective glasses, they're still necessary to wear. It's important to definitely throw them on when you're heading outside now, because after the treatment, the active shield is a little bit lowered. So you want to make sure you're protected, especially on a bright sunny day like today.
The vision change I should notice is that astigmatism will be less, so the vision should be crisper.
You should have an improvement in quality because the astigmatism is less. You should have an improvement in distance and mildly in near, because we're moving from farsighted plus numbers down to minus a quarter. So inherently, you're going to get better distance moving closer to zero. And the fact that we're tipping just over that scale might give you a little bit in near.
And how should we be thinking about future light adjustments?
We could do something within the next 72 hours, but again, we've sort of discussed before, we're not in a hurry, so we'll table that. I like to make sure you have some homework to go home and live your life and try some visual tasks. Try things that you've had a hard time with before and see how much it's improved, see what the changes are, see if there are any shortcomings still, where those gaps in your vision are. You may get home and say, wow, distance is good, driving is good, television's great, can't read my phone.
Right.
In which case, that's a scenario that we can address at the next visit. So I try to figure out where we have gained and where we haven't gained, and then we try to find the sweet spot among that. A lot of times in this scenario, especially if I'm playing around with near vision with patients, I'll actually give contact lenses to wear as part of that baseline. There's no rush on this thing from my perspective or from yours.
Yeah.
And so, we have, time is on our side.
It's now been 2 weeks since my first light adjustment. I kind of wanted to wait to close this out to see how my vision was. And honestly, it's not what I had hoped for yet. I'm trying to be patient. That was just my first adjustment. You can still get 2 more. And my vision does seem to be changing. I don't think after the first adjustment, I don't think I lost any distance, but I also don't think I picked up much near, although that's the part that still seems to be getting a little bit better as time passes. The issue is starbursts. When I look at lights at night now, they have long streaks of light coming out of them, and they look like stars, And I did not have that at all before the first adjustment. Before the first adjustment, lights were pretty pinpoint. But the night immediately after the adjustment, I started seeing these starbursts. And, I'm a little concerned just because I don't know what's causing them. And it wasn't expected. And these lenses are supposed to be far less prone to halos and starbursts than, say, a multifocal lens. But there could still be perfectly good, correctable reasons for this, like leftover astigmatism. Maybe we still have a refractive error. Maybe I'm still too nearsighted or farsighted. I don't know. So I'm headed to my doctor's office now for my 2-week check that we already had planned, to just see where I was. And now we can see if we can figure out what's going on before any further adjustments. And that'll be the next video, this meeting with my optometrist/light adjuster and my ophthalmologist if necessary. What is my vision now? What might be the issue? What can we still correct? So subscribe so you're notified when the next video pops up. Check out earlier videos showing you all the steps in my LAL journey so far, linked in the description below, and maybe a couple here. Stay tuned, as we continue on a fascinating and clearly not always predictable LAL journey.